Today's education coverage is brought to you by Lilly, a medicine company.
The group tasked with getting Indianapolis Public Schools and charter schools to cooperate is talking buses. So that means Amelia Pack-Harvey is as well here from Chalkbeat, Indiana. This is your latest element in the coverage you've been given to the local education authority. As we jump into this, remind our friends what that is, what that authority is.
Sure. So the ILEA, the Indianapolis Local Education Alliance, is a state-mandated group that lawmakers made this past legislative session. They are tasked with three things, really: looking at transportation across district and charter schools, facilities across both school sectors, and also governance. Maybe there's a governance model that could be applied to all school types, because right now we have an extremely fractured system of charter and district, and everyone's operating in silos, really.
And it's interesting because there are so many sort of power bases here that have always traditionally been able to handle themselves, and now they have to work with others as well. So hence your intense coverage of this. Transportation, which you mentioned first, is the issue that you're covering this week. I guess where do we stand in terms of who controls the buses and other things, and what the Alliance is looking at?
Yeah, so last week the ILEA in their public meeting focused on transportation, and they broke down the different types of school types and what transportation some might offer. And again, it's kind of runs the gamut from yellow bus services. Some charters don't offer transportation. You have to get your child there yourself. And then some charters, the innovation charters, contract with IPS to provide that service. So there's a report from the mayor's office given to ILE members that really breaks this down and looks at what every single charter in the district does for transportation or does not do. So about there's independent charters that are not affiliated with the district. About half of them offer transportation, the other half don't, according to this report. Those costs can range from under $200,000 a year to upwards of $1 million a year for the larger charter networks. The innovation schools, which IPS considers as part of its own, they are mostly charter schools. Right. About half of them use transportation through IPS, and many of them have historically done so at no cost. So there's that. The district foots that bill. And the other main takeaway is really the monopoly that a lot of bus companies have in the area. So many schools primarily use one company, Miller Transportation or First Student. You'll see those on your buses as you drive through town. Yeah, which school district is it? Oh, Miller. That's not a district, that's a bus company. That said, for instance, IPS, the board still largely controls decisions on transportation, even if it no longer actually has the buses as part of its overall budget. I presume that a board like that doesn't necessarily want to go, no, you take care of it. You guys take this authority away from us. Yeah, there was a lot of calls at this most recent meeting to maintain the elected school board that has control over things like buses and the other thing that the group is talking about, which is buildings, facilities. So there is a strong push from those, particularly on the traditional IPS side, to maintain a democratically elected school board. What's been interesting is to see if any sort of clear consensus emerges, like something's going to definitely head one direction or another on the topic of transportation. Are there sort of like clear pathways where you can say, yeah, based on what I've seen over the past several months, this is going to head this direction, or is it still wide open? It's still wide open, and I think what we're seeing in a lot of the meetings, and really what this ILA discussion is more about, it is buses and buildings, but what you're seeing in public comment is calls for things beyond those two topics. I mean, we're at a place where the city's school system is really going to be possibly just redone, and so there's a lot of calls for what the school board will look like, making an accountability framework that will rate all the schools so that we can determine which ones are high performing, low performing, and shut down the low performing ones. So there is a lot of talk on bus and buildings, but it's really kind of getting the conversation going about all these other factors that come into play. We need to rewrite the charter to say, and this, and this, and this. Yeah. On the topic of facilities, buildings, interesting thing happening with IPS, and it's a good reminder of a rule that's been in place for a long time, but every time it comes up, it tends to surprise people, the dollar amount we're talking about. Yes, yeah. Last week, the board authorized administration to notify the Department of Education that any interested charters or state educational institutions can purchase the old Susan Roll Leach School 68. It's kind of on the edge of Martindale, Brightwood, and the Near East Side. It is a building that's been out of commission for a while. It is also the most poorly rated in the district, according to a facility study they did.
In terms of an actual
2020.
building?
Yes, it has the lowest score, so I imagine there'd be a lot of work that would need to be done, more than $1 worth, if any school wanted to purchase that.
But the asking price is
$1, according to
and
state
again,
law.
that's by rule. If IPS wants to sell a building, they can't make a bunch of cash on it.
Correct.
If any other school wants to buy it.
Correct.
It's for sale for $1, but you got to run the school out of it. Amelia Pack-Harvey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We presume we'll hear more of these ILEA stories on Chalkbeat and if it expands, if they decide, nutrition and everything else is going to be part of that as well, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Read her stuff. It's good stuff. It really gives you an eye to what's happening in education before it reaches the classroom.